So let's talk today a little bit about performance reviews. But before we really get into the nitty-gritty of performance reviews, I want to give a little caveat on performance reviews. Most people are not good at them. Most people are very poor at giving performance reviews. So if you have a leader who doesn't really give performance reviews or do a good job giving performance reviews, that's actually the norm. What's the reason for that? Because honestly, most managers resent the time spent in performance reviews. Most managers have a lot of things that they're responsible for, and performance reviews are just one more thing on their list, but it requires them to meet for extended periods of time with the people under them and fill out paperwork on them as well that they might view as kind of a nuisance. Many are very harried in preparing for the review because they haven't actually been given extra time in their schedule to allow for those performance reviews. So they're kind of working in a chance to prepare for it in between all the other responsibilities that they have that have been ongoing. Also, a lot of supervisors feel a need or pressure to give some kind of negative feedback in performance reviews. Why do they feel a need to give some kind of negative feedback in performance review? Sometimes leaders feel like it's their responsibility to help the people under them to grow. And so they feel like it's important for them to identify areas where that person needs to grow. And so they're looking around for some kind of negative thing that they can say so they can identify areas where they can help them grow so that they can feel more leaderly, right? So if you're getting some kind of negative aspect of your performance review, it might be because your leader actually feels pressure to identify target areas so that they can work with you to ideally show their own leadership ability. Some managers also feel the pressure to bell curve, so that they want to make sure that everyone doesn't get a good review because it's important to show who stands out. So they're kind of trying to bell curve, and they might do different things like different years, different people get the top review because they're trying to bell curve, but they're not really doing it necessarily in a fair way. Also, most managers have been given no training on how to review. So most managers have been given no training on how to give a performance review, but suddenly because they're a manager, this is a part of their job, but they haven't actually been given the opportunity to really learn about how to do that and how to do that successfully. And frankly, abuse breeds other abuse. Most managers have had their own bad reviews, both in the past or in the present. So when they're thinking about how to give a performance review, all they've got is their past experience to draw from, and that past experience is maybe negative or critical. So that means they're also probably going to be someone who's negative and critical when giving performance reviews. So if you have that kind of experience, well, that's fairly common. Bad reviews are unfortunately very common, and you can see some examples of that on the other videos on D2L. Remember, most of your managers dislike giving performance reviews, so performance reviews are probably not their favorite time of the year. All right, so what should you do in the performance review? Well, as much as possible, see if you can make your leader feel positive. So most bosses have a desire to mentor those under them because that kind of shows their leadership or shows their expertise. It shows that they have a reason to be the boss or the supervisor in this circumstance. So when you get your negative performance review or you get some small negative aspects of your performance review, try to let your boss feel that they're contributing to your growth. So ask them questions to allow them to give you some suggestions on how you can improve. As much as possible, be calm and positive, and this is going to help make them feel more valuable, which is ultimately going to make them feel more like you're somebody that should be promoted later on. So instead of being defensive against what you receive, try to receive it positively and openly and see if you can use this as an opportunity to encourage your boss's leadership. Leaders also want to feel that their feedback is valuable. So if they give you feedback in their previous performance review, can you show how you made changes based on that last review? That would be really helpful for you because it makes your boss feel more appreciated. Also, leaders often feel like they want to have something to offer. So they're likely to have steps for you on how to improve because they want to feel like they're doing something that makes it worthwhile that they're in leadership. So if you receive this, try to receive this calmly and kindly and appreciatively if possible. In your performance review, it's also important that you sell yourself. It's important that your leader knows that you're also confident about the work that you've completed and that you let them know that you feel good about what you've accomplished and that they understand what you've accomplished as well. You need to show how you've contributed to the company. Others aren't actually likely to remember all that you've accomplished. So even though you've done a lot for the company over the past year, your boss, who again is very hurried to create this performance review, probably doesn't remember all the things that you did over the past year, but here they are writing a performance review up for you. And frankly, if you thought back, you might not even be likely to remember all that you accomplished, so how much more can you not expect somebody else to do that for you? So again, you don't want to do this in some kind of like weird acrostic or kitschy way. You want to do it in a professional manner. So how should you prepare for prepare for a performance review, my recommendation is that you write an annual report. And we're going to talk more about those annual reports later on as well. What is an annual report? It's a concise business document that outlines your recent contributions. So it's a concise business document that outlines your recent contributions or accomplishments in that past year or 6 months since your last performance review. You're going to write this in business report format, and it's usually 1-page to 2-page document. This might include things like goals that you've met, notable achievements, accomplishments, training that you received, or changes or growth that can be measured and seen in outcomes. So we're going to talk a little bit more about annual reports and what they are in the next video. But I think annual reports are a really key way to let your boss know what you've accomplished, to help you remember what you've accomplished, and to help you gain recognition for the things that you've contributed to the company.